What's going on, everyone? It's Adam here with another episode of the Baseball World Today podcast. Before we get started, I'm just gonna say that I'm recording in a new location at school now, and the uploads might be a little less frequent, and also hopefully there's no background noise since I am at school. But either way, make sure to follow me on Twitter at the Baseball WROR2 and on YouTube, same name as the podcast, for any updates and anything that I might be talking about. Let's get into it. When I woke up today, there was one move to talk about that we're going to talk about later. Now there's an hour's worth to talk about. And we're going to start with JT of Realmuto, signed for 5 years, $115 million with the Phillies. Now this is a move we all kind of saw coming. Shockingly, there was basically no market for the best catcher in baseball. By the way, top war since 2017 for a catcher, and it's not particularly close. So yeah, the best catcher in baseball, non-debatable. Anyway, there's shockingly almost no market for JT. It really just, the Phillies just kind of happened to end up re-signing him. The only other news that a team was interested in him really was the Braves saying they were interested. I think this was just to raise the price a little for the Phillies since they're in the same division. In fact, my buddy was so confident that he said he'd get a Braves tattoo if the Braves were to sign JT. So we all really knew JT was going to re-sign. It just was a matter of the Phillies slowly doing it and drawing him out to get him to sign to a deal with their terms, really, I would say this is a pretty fair deal for both sides. 5 years, $150 million for someone that's the best in their position. Listen, I think you gotta take that every day. Also, no opt-outs or anything. So that is very interesting, I think. It's almost shocking in today's market, but yeah, they also signed Ivan Nova, who not ideally is kind of their fifth starter right now. So, listen, this team is still good, but I still am not sold on them being a playoff team. So, especially with a guy like Nova as a fifth starter, and especially in such a stacked division. If they're in the NL Central, then we'd be talking. By the way, a team in the NL Central has not spent $1 million or over on any player this offseason. For some comparison, if they're in a division like that, though, I'd be pretty confident in them making the playoffs. But they still might be the fourth best team in that division. So they have some other moves they might need to make, and if they don't make them, then this move might not be for anything. I really think they need to sign another starter, bring in another reliever, is really the main thing, and then you just gotta almost trust the offense from that point on. But it'll be tough for me to see this team being better than the Mets or the Braves, because those are two teams that have just so vastly improved and are already pretty good, especially for the Braves. So, but in the vacuum, JTV signing, great move. We're going to talk about why he didn't have much of a market, and I can't really put my finger on it. I think a lot of it has to do with the salary cap. A lot of teams were near it. But it's weird, though. There wasn't much of a market for the catcher position. The only other big team that was interested, I would say, was the Mets, who signed James McCann pretty early, off in the offseason, so they could avoid giving such a big contract to this particular guy. And they made their moves elsewhere and going to continue to do so, I think, even though they've ironically missed out on Springer and Hand since, but they still are making their moves. So, listen, JT is really, like I've been saying, that guy at the catcher's position. So if you're the Phillies, after making a terrible trade to get him, considering you gave up Sixto Sanchez, it's really a no-brainer to try and get him back. I think they're really blessed that no one else was trying to get him. Kind of surprised a team like the Red Sox didn't go after him, because Vasquez is good, but he's not on JT's level. But the thing is, then you have to trade a guy like Vasquez because he's a starting catcher, so it gets kind of complicated there. Also, like I said, the Red Sox probably could have signed him, but then the salary cap becomes the issue where they can't upgrade any other position. So I think it's particularly with them and the Mets, it was just a matter of, well, I believe, there's only so much money to spend and a lot of spots to upgrade. So JT, going to enter his age 30 season, two-time All-Star, probably would have been on last year if not for the shortened season. But in a vacuum, this is certainly a good move for the Phillies. But in 2 years, if they're not really making any progress, we'll have to see if they decide, okay, is it time to move on, or what are they going to do? Which is possible. In 2 years, they see like, okay, this isn't working. We can't compete with the Mets, Braves, maybe even not the Nationals. So what will they do then? Is this going to be a big guy they can trade? They have a lot of guys they could trade in theory then, but yeah, so this is a big break it, make it year for the Phillies. I've been saying that for a while, and we'll have to see what happens.